as a show and also as the leading television station, as well as among other leading stations as subsidiaries of Media General. It's also be part of this whole initiative to ensure we also get you the right reports from the disaster ground. That's ground zero, where we have, following the Akosombo Dam spillage, the victims who have been left behind, efforts being made to make sure they get relief items. We do know the president went to visit them yesterday, had an interaction with opinion leaders, the chiefs and people, as well as the leading parliamentarians and other stakeholders in the communities affected. Of course, we know what the president's comments have been and what it has generated. But as you ponder over all these, we also do encourage you to cash out. You know, while we commiserate, perhaps when you win, you can also do a lot of donation out of your win of cash out using the short code *439#. Again, let me remind you, *439#. By now, I expect you to have saved *439# in your contact list, so it becomes easy for you to dial. When you dial, you have the various options. You choose TV3, and then you get to be part of this great initiative. And especially in these times, where we're giving out lots of goodies this morning that will be crediting your mobile money account, because you're our cherished viewer, you also tend to follow us as well. And then the win becomes yours, and all of us as a society are better for it. We also do encourage you to follow us on our streams. We're streaming on TV3 Ghana across all social media platforms. And we're grateful that you've also joined us. I think the most important thing is that as you join us, you also tend to have the comments coming in, and so we're grateful for that as well. Let me just acknowledge a couple of people before I introduce my guest this morning. Shaddai Adote has already joined us. Greeting me, says, good morning, Roland. Thank you very much. Bra Kweku, Azria Roja, Akasokri Joseph, Money Nimani, Magdel, Makoni, Solly Evans is already watching, Shraba, Keofuri, and then a couple of people. Remedy is also there, Shaibo Mohammed, PHK is in Kofodia, Prince Henry Kofodia, Amama Gold is watching us live from the UK as well, and so we have varied sections of the audience watching us, both local and international. We're grateful. Seidu Isaka is also joining, Mahindra Mahama, and then also Shehu Ibrahim, Hamza Junior Di Maestro, Nelson Akotia, thank you for joining us, and then Otokuno Tribune, thank you for joining us as well, and many of you. For those who will be joining us, we have our guest this morning. Representing the government of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, a former member of parliament for Okankwe North. He will be going for the primaries once again for the New Patriotic Party. The date has not yet been set, but he knows that for certain he will be challenging to become the parliamentary candidate for the New Patriotic Party in Okankwe North. A former member of parliament is right here. Fuseini Issa, good morning to you.
Good morning, Roland. Good morning to my co-panelists this morning. You make it sound like a boxing fight. Coming from the red corner or the blue corner, but I'm coming from the New Patriotic Party's corner.
And then also representing the good people of Tamale Central, we have Ibrahim Mutala Mohammed, a former deputy trade minister, and he's right here. Good morning to you. How are you?
Good morning. Alhamdulillah, I'm okay.
Mashallah, mashallah. La ilaha illallah. And then also Bernard Mona. Bernard Mona is a known politician, political activist, as well as advocate. He's a former chair for the PNC. Good morning to you, sir.
Morning.
Great. Please, if you're joining us, we want to take a look at the president's commitment, indeed, to help the victims salvage what they've already lost. He's already promising compensation, but also in between comments, well, taking a jibe, really, that if they were regular voters of him, of course, that was also good. Even if they were not, it was still immaterial because he was the president for all. His comments, many in his party as well as those communicating for the government say have been taken out of context. But for those who have not been happy about his comments, they say that The comments were unsavory, they were just unpalatable and also unnecessary. But this is the entire speech that he made at that event.
You and your elders, I want the people here, you, beginning with you and the elders, to understand that when something like this happens and government acts, government is acting for Ghanaians, all Ghanaians. I came here because Ghanaians are having difficulties and are suffering. And it is my responsibility to try and help. Because if it's a question of counting who votes for me and who doesn't vote for me, I shouldn't be here, because you don't vote for me. But that is not my concern. And in any event, one day you will vote for me and my party.
To spill, and all the indications are that many more communities are going to be affected. My concern at this point is not about elections. I'm thinking about saving lives. I'm thinking about making sure that my people are protected, that they can keep body and soul together in the various 19 camps that we have established. I think that those comments are not necessary at this point. Already my people think that his response was too late. The way he swiftly comments on disasters elsewhere, particularly in other countries, we didn't see that kind of response rate, and it took a lot of public agitation for him to set up the interministerial committee and then to come and visit us today. But they say better late than never. We acknowledge his visit. What is really important is not just mere visit, mere rhetoric. We want to see what plans are being put in place to alleviate the plight of our people. We have a humanitarian crisis. People don't have access to relief items, to blankets, to mosquito nets, to tents. We have developed a system that will ensure that all relief items will efficiently reach the entire 19 camps that have been established.
And one of our distinguished political analysts, who is a regular on the channel, now it's TV3, the rest of the subsidiaries of Media Journal, including 3FM, is joining us from the University of Cape Coast, Jonathan Asante-Okyere. Good morning to you, Mr. Asante-Okyere.
Good morning, Roman.
Very good, very good. Mr. Hussaini, what do you make of the president's comments? His commitment also that he gave the victims as well.
Good morning again to you, Roland, and good morning to my panelists. Good morning to your viewers, and especially to those watching from Bukankwe North. I pray and hope that they're having a good morning. Roland, I must first commiserate with the people in the affected regions. It's difficult for you to see your fellow compatriots go through such hardship at this time, and I pray that we are able to put things in place for them to go back to their regular lives. It was important that when we have an incident of this proportion, that the president, the leader of the land, will make time to go commiserate with them, and that's what happened yesterday. Subsequent to that, there's been very extensive commentary on the comments that the president made whilst he was there. But you see, the president, even before the president got there, there has been extensive politicization of the whole matter. We've had politicization, yes, of this whole matter. We had Honorable Abena Gomashi speak on the matter. We've had Clement Apak speak on the matter. Okudzeto Ablakwa himself is not making the matter go away. I mean, not treating it like he should as a member of parliament. These were comments, I won't go on to quote, but they had made on several comments to the extent that because it is the Volta region, the government of the New Patriotic Party is not acting as expected. But I think that even when the president had already given directives, issued a statement, the formation of the inter-ministerial committee to ensure that the people are taken good care of, even in the midst of this challenge. And so the president's comments, if you want to situate it in the situation and also listen to the whole comments that he made and not take him out of context, then I think that it was situated in its right context. I mean, we are people, we are one people. And the president yesterday was showing to the people that, look, he's there not on some political grounds or some political comments that has been made. He is there because he is the president of the nation, and his responsibility is to ensure that Ghanaians are safe. And so when there is an incident like this, he personally, I mean, he could have sat at Jubilee House and gotten the ministers and his appointees to go and do what they have to do. But he thought it wise to go there physically to be able to encourage the people, commensurate with them. And so I didn't think that what the president said yesterday was out of place. I didn't think that he had intention of being politicizing further what the NDC started. And it was even unfortunate that I'm hearing that a member of parliament in the area thinks that at this critical juncture, what he can do is to seal VRA on this matter. I mean, the member of parliament in the area. All because he thinks that there is some extent of politics or the government is not acting as it should. But you see, this whole thing, I sit back and I look at this. I am gathering that the last time there was actual spillage in the area was in about 2010, and it wasn't to this extent. But obviously, this year, the metro people have told us the extent of rain and all of that. Yesterday, I was watching a program on another platform when I heard an engineer from University of Ghana speak. I mean, people are professing all sort of solutions to these things, what we could do to forestall some of these things. And I'm sitting there as a layman, and I'm thinking that, hey, even in all of this, we have not even mentioned the Bagri Dam. Come in a matter of weeks or months, if the Burkina Faso also have this similar issue of the Bagri Dam also overflowing, that has been an annual affair. The people up north, what is going to happen to them? Are we prepared enough? NADMO, the military, what are we doing? I think that we should be prepared for such eventualities. But given what the president did, I think it was in place. I think the president's comments were fair. And sometimes, you see, we also don't have to take ourselves. I mean, yes, it's a very unfortunate situation.
Mr. Fuseni, don't you think when the president speaks, each time he makes these very controversial statements, and we have party analysts, communicators, and leading members of the party, like you, a very distinguished former member of parliament, respectable former banker, come now to explain what the president said in English? Don't you think it is problematic?
You may term it controversial, but I would not. I would not, actually, because I listened to him speak. And if you listen to the whole context, he had put a context that it is his responsibility to do it. And he's doing it as the president of the Republic of Ghana and not as a member of the New Patriotic Party, because he went on to even remind the people, inform them that when he took the oath as the president of the Republic. And you see, before he got there, like I mentioned earlier, there had been attempts to politicize this whole thing in saying that he has not been there because of certain other issues. So it was important that given the platform, he debunks all those assertions and makes it strong that, look, I am the president of Ghana and I am here because Ghanaians are going through torrid times and I have to be here commensurate with them and put in place measures to forestall their suffering or hardship. And that's what he intended to convey to Ghanaians. And there's nothing controversial about the system, what he's made, the statement the president made, and I don't think it's anything untoward.
Mr. Mutala, if and since then I've seen a lot of transcribing of his speech there fully, and he says, "I want to assure you that the government is going to do everything in its part to assist to make sure that things are all right. I think everybody here, and I hope you take the message all across North Tongue, South Tongue, Central Tongue, that when these things happen and government acts, politics does not come into the matter at all. And I'm reading this because it's on social media put together by, I'm sure, lead communicators of government. When I took the oath of office as president, I took the oath as president for every single individual. Now, where the controversy then is about they don't vote for him, because if it is the question of counting who votes for me and who doesn't vote for me, then I shouldn't be here because you don't vote for me. But that is not my concern. And in any event, one day you will vote for me and my party. That's how you concluded it. Is it an unnecessary comment, unsavory, or it was a comment that has so far been taken out of context?
Good morning, Roland.
Good morning.
Good morning to my two brothers, and good morning to the...
Please speak loudly for me, Mr.
Good
Mutala.
morning to the Musi boy.
Your two brothers.
Yes, you're all my brothers. In
We are
fact,
three on the set.
I say good morning, Roland. In fact, good morning, my brother Mona. Good morning, my slave. Moses are slaves to...
There's also Dr.
And good
Asante.
morning, yeah, dog. Moses are slaves to the Gumbes, and he knows that when they want to cook yam, Moses, they don't peel it. They'll just take the yam with the sun and put in water to boil.
You see how
And
the
they
general is
eat
watching you
yam.
with
They eat
amazement.
yam with kose. Oh, he knows. He knows how you guys behave. But Roland,
He's a wild man,
Roland,
so he's watching you.
and good morning to the good
Keen
people
interest.
of Tamale, particularly Tamale Central. No amount of perfume, in fact, oud perfume in Arabia, can be used to wash this president on this reckless, irresponsible, insensitive statement he has made. This isn't the first time the president talks about politics and who vote for him or not in the Volta region. This is not the first time. He has been consistent in attaching politics to issues like that. In the first place, the incident happened not today. The incident happened not today. Do you know when the incident happened? It took government almost a week to respond to the issue, even to make a statement. At the time when this thing happened, our president found comfort to poke his nose into Israel-Palestine war and declaring on behalf of the people of this country that we stand with Israel. We don't stand with Israel. You alone or whoever supports you stands with Israel. Long-tested diplomatic relations we have with Palestine, not because of who they are, but because of our experiences as a people and as a continent, that we had an experience of being subjugated, of being colonized. We had that experience, and that has been the long-standing, diplomatic relations we have with Palestine. More so at a time when the African Union, including Ghana, took a non-aligned position on this matter. Our Ghanaian rep, and I guess it would have been the Minister for Foreign Affairs, supported the position that the continent of Africa should take a non-aligned position. You had a president who went, I think anytime he sees Oyibo, he says anything he wants to say. He went and made that very reckless statement. And at that time, even bringing, let me finish, please, please. At that time, even bringing Ukraine-Russia conflict. Remember, he made that statement and it created a lot of problems with Ghana. I am scandalized that this is a minister for foreign affairs, who had been a minister for foreign affairs before.
Mutala.
Please, I am scandalized that he had been a foreigner. Please, you don't determine. Are you the host?
Are you relating the president?
I am relating this in the context that at the time when lives were being lost, livelihood of people were destroyed, he didn't see the need to make a single comment or even tweet. Remember, this president tweets on every issue. When Floyd was killed in America, he tweeted. And we even organized a funeral service, yes. George Floyd, and spent money. When we had problems in France,
Center.
He tweeted and he made statement and contributed. Yet any time your citizens perish, unfortunately, he doesn't see the need to make comment. It took President Mahama to visit the place, commensurate with the people. Yet at that time, not a single official statement was made. And when he even went there, instead of him talking about empathizing with the people, he brought in politics. If it had to do with voting, I wouldn't be here. Whether the people there vote for you or not, you will be there because your comfort is ensured by their taxes. The people in that region are also Ghanaians. And this is not the first time this president has made such reckless and irresponsible statement on the matter of sufferings of the people with regards to politics. This is not the first time.
Which one
so
again?
There was another incident during the campaign. He made those statements, the things he did in Volta region, yet the people in Volta region do not vote for him. Why? When President Mahama, the massive infrastructure development in Ashanti, including your own hometown, when President Mahama was doing those things, did he ever go there to tell them that if it had to do with voting, I wouldn't be providing those things?
He said if he had painted their streets with gold, they would still not vote for them.
But he didn't say, I'm providing these things, I'm providing it, even if you are not voting, I wouldn't have provided that. Let's get the distinction. So anytime the president speaks, someone must come to explain. Someone must come to explain. I think that it was needless, it was unnecessary, it was reckless, very irresponsible statement coming from no less a person than the President of the Republic of Ghana. Look, let's call a spade and not a big spoon. So this attempt to tell us that this was what the President meant, why? The man has tremendous experience. He's over 70 years. He had been in politics for a very long time. So he knew what he was saying. So it doesn't take you or any other person to explain to us what the president's real intentions were. His real intention was that he was trying to do politics to tell the people that I am doing you a favor. Even though you don't vote for me, my being here is a favor. It's not a favor. It was not a privilege. It's a right that every president, when people are suffering in the manner that they are suffering, you ought to be there. Look, any time at all, in many countries, that you have such disasters, and the presidents of those countries refuse to respond quickly, it becomes a political issue. We saw what happened in the tsunami in America. In fact, there is Australia had similar incident, and many other countries. Presidents are elected to do some of the things that I expected them to do. More so, when there is an unfortunate incident that afflicts or affects your people, you need to show some attention. It took this very reckless government more than almost a week to respond to that statement. So if President Mahama didn't visit there, this president wouldn't have visited there. And my brother is telling us that he could have decided to sit at the Flagstaff House and ask his ministers to go. As if going there and giving attention to the issue is a privilege that the president has. As if it is a favor that the president and this government is doing the people in that region and in that area. It is not a favor. And let me also make this point. The Interministerial Committee.
Yes.
Do you know strangely, the Minister for Health is not among them.
I've noticed that.
Ridiculous.
Even the Minister for Gender and Children. Children are greatly affected. Child Rights International is advocating.
When there are reports that a lot of toilet facilities have exploded as a result of this. Okay? Mortuaries. And that there's the possibility of outbreak of a huge disaster. The Minister for Health is not in that committee. I mean, frankly speaking, the incompetence of this government is beyond incompetence. It's a moribund. And to be very honest with you, sometimes I find it extremely difficult whether we can sustain some of this crass, gross incompetence of this government that has been demonstrated, that we can sustain this for another a year. I can imagine the agonizing conditions under which the people of this country are, that we need to live up to this. Yet they have another vice president who wants to be a president and is coming to continue that crass and gross incompetence. I think that this statement ought to be condemned, and I want to see civil society organizations and the doyens of democracy in this country, they should condemn that statement. Because if President Mahama had made this statement, I am telling you, they would have condemned it. But all of them have developed caca. To the extent that caca, you know when you have caca.
Who has developed caca?
Those civil society, look, the Ghana Bar Association. If President Mahama had made this statement, they would have condemned it. I can bet my last penny they won't say anything on this.
They have developed caca.
Oh yes, caca. You know when you develop caca, even talking is sangpang. That's how the Gumbes call it.
You call it sangpang.
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 So they develop sangpang.
Let me get to Dr. Jonathan Asante-Okyere. For you as a political analyst, somebody who watches the space, you look at what public opinion is, effect on a government's popularity, you make comparisons to some of the huge or developed democracies that we tend to always benchmark our economy and the country with. Do you think the president's comments were unsavory or is a gaffe? If it is, what are the ramifications? Ideally, what also should he have been saying?
Well, thank you, Mr. Walker, and let me say good morning to colleagues in the studio, and viewers. Let me start by establishing the devastating effect of the spillage and, of course, the background to it. I am reliably informed that, unfortunately, the community were not made aware of the volume of the spillage that was going to be unleashed. And that, for me, is a huge miscommunication. And this has been attested to by the MP of that particular area. Now, if you look at the effect, then obviously I think colleagues in the studio have already mentioned a few of them. All of these have been unleashed into the spillage. You can talk of refuse, you can talk of cemetery, fecal matter. Others have spoken about mortuary, and even some important offices, including the ECG itself. And all of these, you have to consider the health implications, the coroners and all those things, the diarrheas and all those things. And so looking at the effect, if the president has set up such a committee, an interministerial committee, then obviously it tells you that the president is taking this matter seriously. I think about 9 ministries or so. And so you could see that the foundation has been set. Now, all of these things were done in the absence of the president. Okay, so the president comes. And obviously, a former president went there. And I'm told that this thing started somewhere 15 September or so. If it is not true, I stand to be corrected.
Yeah, 15 September.
Yes, so you could see that they were spilling these volumes of water, gradually, and without thinking of the possible effect of things of that nature. So a committee is set up. We believe that's supposed to be. I don't want to assume in a cynical manner that this committee will end up spending more money than what will be used to solve the problem out there. But if our president goes out there, which of course for the optics is important, the president must be there. Because I remember in President Rawlings' time, anytime things of that nature happened, he doesn't care, go like Boko conflict and other things. President Rawlings used to go there on regular basis. Okay, so the optics is very important. So the president's presence there was quite good, timely, as a way of reassuring the people that, of course, all resources will be channeled to ensure that they are the effect is ameliorated. Then the president makes a statement, as usual. And I want to virtually react briefly to what Mr. Is it Fuseni?
Fuseni Issa, the Honorable Fuseni Issa.
Honorable, yes. Okay, he thinks that I think it is being taken out of context or people are exaggerating on the matter. But I want to tell him something. I think that our president is fond of that. You see, Mr. Rawlings used to create some jokes, crack some jokes, as a way of dousing tension within the system. But communication is important. So if you want to crack a certain joke, you should be very careful how the recipient will take it. And I think that the president, either he does it intentionally or he does it unwittingly. Take whatever he said at the GBA, the recent one, the GBA. You see, you have been invited. You need to speak on something relevant. What do? You went up on the barrage on the former president. Now you have compelled the GBA secretary or so to come out to what? To rebut. The president of GBA also had to say something a bit harsh. So I think our president has not been, forthright when it comes to things of that nature. But you see, for him to communicate in such a manner, I think it is a costly joke that he played out there. And it has a huge political implication because this is political communication we are talking about. And if you situate it within the context of the kinds of things the president has been saying over the period, I can categorically say that our president is gradually becoming a political liability to not only his government, not only the government communication, not only the party's communication, and consequently their desire to break the eight.
You said the president is becoming what liability?
It's gradually becoming a political liability to the government's political communication.
Why?
The party's communication. Because, you see, it is a gaffe. The timing is very wrong. And that is why I painted the background of the effect of all of this. People have lost their properties. And there is no way government is going to replace all of this. So this is not the time to crack a joke such as this. So you see, all the goodwill that you went out there with is gone. This morning, what the media is spending time on is to discuss the negative aspect of your political communication. And that takes away virtually all the goodwill, the intention, right? What's it called? The positive intention of wanting to ameliorate the suffering of the masses. What has happened to Apiachi? I don't even know whether we've been able to hand over all the things that we said we're going to do, whether the properties, have been installed, the buildings and all those things. The media is even silent on that. We need to get the Ghanaians updated on things of that nature, so that it does not always become a political banter between the NDC and the NPP. As of now, people are really suffering, and I think that it was unwholesome on the part of the president to play such a huge joke that has a political implication, negative political implication on the party itself in government, the party itself, the entire communication, because you're talking of serial callers and other things. Now they, as you rightly pointed out, they are being called upon on a regular basis to come and justify or to contextualize what the president might have said as a way of dousing the effect of the political effect of such.
Well, Mr. Fuseni here is not a serial caller. He's a distinguished former member of parliament, also a former banker as well.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that that political communication, miscommunication, has created a situation where everybody is called upon to come and justify and contextualize it.
I thought you were referring to Mr. Fuseni. That's why I just wanted to correct that. I have this one from Senyu Chaglu, says that the president's comment, that's Akufo-Addo's comments, were reckless and irresponsible comments and ought to be condemned. And he says that, would he be bold to make these confidential or these comments in confidence to the good people of Chebi or the Ashanti region if they had the same disaster? And that's from Senyu Chaglu. What do you make of the reaction so far? Mr. Bernard Mona.
Senyu. Okay.
I don't know, Senyu. I just got...
I know.
Okay.
Well, greetings to Issa Fuseni.
No, I prefer Fuseni, Issa.
It is tempting to always say Enusa Fuseni.
No, I prefer Fuseni, Issa, because Fuseni is my
Fuseni. Issa Fuseni, or Fuseni Issa.
He nearly looks like Nanado, the president. Except that the glasses are not round.
No, you don't do that to my brother. My brother is a tall man.
Oh, okay.
He's a tall man.
Okay.
Averagely. First and foremost, let it be put on record that President Akufo-Addo lied as to when the spillage started and his presence in Ghana. President Akufo-Addo left Ghana on the 11th of October to the United States of America at the invitation of the United States Peace Institute to come and deliver a message, keynote message. It was nothing special. Keynote message. Nothing extraordinary. So if President Akufo-Addo left Ghana on the 11th of October, before 11th of October, the water levels and the spillage had reached a crescendo. And we had already started talking about the devastation. At that time, the entire Adidome Hospital was shut down. The hospitals at Gakope were shut down. VRA installations were all shut down at Mepe. These things happened before President Akufo-Addo took his trip to the United States to go and deliver a keynote address, nothing special, by an institute that is talking about peace. That is to say that the Institute of Economic Affairs invites you, that's Ghana, that President Biden should come and address. That is the equivalent. I hope you understand that the Institute of Economic Affairs is inviting President Biden to come and deliver a speech. And the President of the United States will find it prudent to allow national crisis to be unattended to go and deliver this. And as Murtala said, he went and miscommunicated. In fact, instead of going to communicate peace, he went and communicated violence.
Oh, how? How so?
The people of Palestine and Israel have been in turmoil since 1948. Globally, many are aware that the Palestinian people have suffered indignation in the hands of the Israelis. Globally, many are aware that at a certain point in 1993, Bill Clinton led a certain dialogue that agreed that 81% of the lands belonged to the Palestinians and that only 19% was under contention. And so they should sign an agreement for the 81% while they were dealing, or they should deal with, the nuances around the 19%. Today, as we speak, Israel has taken more than 70% of the land. Today, as we speak, they have taken more than 70% of the land. Today, Israel, that created Hamas, because they sprang up Hamas to fight the Palestinian Liberation Organization. Along the line, when the funding to Hamas failed, the Palestinian people, Hamas decided to stand by itself and became a political party, won election. The United States, the United Kingdom, and Israel refused to allow Hamas as a political organization to take over because they describe it as a terrorist organization.
Well, that's the official position of the world's powers.
Right. Hamas is a political party. Hezbollah is a political party. The Taliban is a political
also
party.
Armed groups.
I'm saying that why Nelson Mandela was described as a terrorist. So freedom fighters globally are described as terrorists because they are not doing what the rest of the world wants.
And then our president.
So our president,
And Che Guevara.
our president decides, instead of talking about peace, to see how we can reconcile the people within that region, goes to say that Ghana stands with Israel. Was the president communicating peace? So his invitation was of no significance because he was supposed to go and preach peace, and he went and stoked violence, the reason for which we are having the escalation here. At the same time, the president decided not to attend to his own. Listen, 2 days ago, President Joe Biden woke up to realize that a 6-year-old and a mother were stabbed to death. And they traces that to the conflict in the East, what do we call it?
East Jerusalem.
They trace that to the conflict. Okay. And that the woman is a Palestinian. And Joe Biden stopped every other thing to take time to condemn that action. In spite of the fact that America has sent weapons to Israel to go and support Israel, they condemned that action.
Now let's come back home.
President Akufo-Addo, in the face of calamity of this magnitude, decided to leave Ghana on the 11th of October. So when the president yesterday started saying that he was away and the chief of staff called him,
that was not true.
That was a big lie.
How do you know that? Are you in the president's office?
But he just
the president was in Ghana when this spillage started. I told you the date that the president left.
Brilliant.
Would you mute? Because as we were talking, I kept quiet.
note it
You
down.
have 3 gadgets.
I'll
before
even
you.
call Mr. Richard Ahiagba right now to
You have 3
contribute. He wants
gadgets
to
before.
come
You have 3
and
gadgets before you.
buttress some
So
points.
president left here on the 11th of October. How is that a case that the president was unaware that this pillage has started? Then it means the president should sack his national security minister and coordinator.
Oh, why?
Because they should be feeding the president of daily activities across the country of the security and health situation. Because that crisis in the Volta region
It is not
affects.
today.
Look, do you know the magnitude of investment that is gone? Do you know the lives that are affected? We are told by Child Rights International that about 10,896 children alone are displaced and affected. Do you know what that means? This is just within 80 communities. That is what they officially say. Unofficially, we will not be able to ascertain the number of people that are affected. The constant look down of the people of the Volta region by President Akufo-Addo is becoming one too many. A chief talks and you tell the chief that they should go and take their own investment and go and complete school projects.
Yes.
The people are suffering and you walk there and go and tell them that if it was about politics, you will not be there. You don't understand the reason for which you are president. You walk to the people. Look, as we speak, farmers have lost everything. You know that along the same Volta Lake. International fishers, they are doing a lot of fish farming on the lake.
The Chinese.
The locals are doing a lot of fish. All their things are gone.
Huge investments.
Everything is gone. Right? As we speak, mortuaries, in fact, if the entire hospital is gone, well, you are talking about mortuaries. So dead bodies and what have you have been taken away. Life-threatening situation. It's not a time to go and joke. To be telling the people that you know one day they will vote for you. What has that got to do at this particular time, the time of crisis? You are thinking about electoral fortunes. What is this? Look, our president should credit the people of Ghana with a certain level of decency. See, there is a difference between being a president and being a political leader.
I don't understand.
President Akufo-Addo does not understand the differentiation between a political leader and being a president.
If you're not a politician and a political, how do you become president?
When you become president, you grow above partisanship.
Sometimes.
You grow above partisanship. In every communication of the president, it is about the New Patriotic Party, the narrow politics of it. Ghana is bigger than the New Patriotic Party. In fact, president was born when the New Patriotic Party as a political entity today was not in existence.
Please wrap up.
And so he should understand the difference.
Please, I've called for Mr. Richard Ahiagba to just conclude for me.
That what? That he is not a Voltairean, he is not affected, he is not insulted by the sentiments of the president.
He's a director of communication.
He's coming to speak partisan.
No.
Let us hear him.
Mr. Richard Ahiagba, you wanted to make an intervention. Let's quickly hear you in 2.5 minutes, sir.
Thank you for the opportunity. I think I've been following the discussions so far.
You've been following the discussions on this platform.
I believe in your capacity to defend the party.
Sorry?
You mean you've been following the discussions on this platform?
On this and other platforms.
Okay.
Yes.
Let me hear you.
Yes. So the quick comments I want to make is that there's a context for the conversation. That before the president went there, and I thank you, Roland, for reading the statement, even though he didn't read all of it. Before the president went there, there were widespread politicization of the issue.
By who?
Stating that by the NDC sold in the Volta region. I was throughout the weekend I was in the Volta region. Okay? So now here is what is happening. And if you take
Mr. Richard Anyagba, where you come from the Volta region, don't you? Where and where in the Volta region were you in the during the period of the weekend where there was extreme politicization of assigns of the NDC in the Volta region? Because it was not a national issue. That's why I want us to clarify that.
Well, what I'm saying is that this thing is happening in the Volta region. Okay, so what is happening is that. And if you don't have to focus on this conversation, well, I please that just give me a moment to establish the point I want to make. There is always this constant politics by the NDC to create the impression that NPP and its administrations don't care about voters. Convenient for them because that's where their stronghold is to get votes from there. So they sow these seeds all the time when anything happens, to say that the people don't care, the NPP doesn't care. And so the instances that you're talking about, it is because the NDC continues to do this. So in this particular case, whilst the Volta region, this is happening, there's this conversation that, oh, the president doesn't care about Voltarians. That's how he's not here. That's why this is not happening. Roland, it's not true. One, the president's comment was to respond to this unfortunate continuous politicization of issues that happened in the Volta region, to create the impression that the NPP and its government doesn't care about the people. This comment is nothing to do with the people, but to address, and Roland, if you read the statement, it's very clear, to say that I am here as the president of the country, not as a person who you voted for or didn't vote for. But I am here because you are going through difficult times. Now, here is the emphasis. If it was about taking note of who voted for me or who didn't vote for me, I wouldn't be here. But I'm here because I am your president. Directly addressing the issue of saying that, oh, he doesn't care about Votarians. He is the president of Votarians too.
Okay, point made.
Is the thrust of the statement. So, if Murtala, my good brother, is in your studio, creating this false impression that Akufo-Addo has said something untoward, it is a response to their politicization of the pain of the people of the Volta region.
All right.
My big brother, Bernard Bona, is in your studio saying that Akufo-Addo doesn't care about Ghanaians. It is because he's responding to the unfortunate politicization, weaponization of the NDC, of the pain of my people. And that, for me, I think is important.
All right.
I saw the pain that people are going through.
Mr. Anyagba, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Mr. Anyagba, you will not land, please. And respectfully, let's have this in a very civil atmosphere.
Thank you. Roland, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity.
Togbi Bojidi. Oh, no, please. No, please. Mr. Anyagba. Mr. Anyagba.
Yes, please.
I asked you a question. You never answered the question. You said you were in the Volta region. And
yes,
in your observation while you were in the Volta region, there was this massive political commentary and communication and sensitization of the affected victims and communities that the president did not care because he didn't get his votes from the Volta region. And you claimed that these were being communicated by the NDC or its assigns. And I asked you where and how and who was doing that, because it hadn't come to the national domain as a conversation. So where, who, and how were these communications done? And
thank you. The MP for my constituency, Ketu South, made a comment in the nature of what Bernard Mona is making in your studio, to say that the president is consoling foreigners rather than the people of the Volta region. Okay?
Okay.
That is a direct attack on the president to say that the issue happening in the Volta region doesn't care. But you see, the governance structure of our country is working. The president doesn't have to be in the Volta region for government to work for the people. My vote is deployed. The regional minister is engaged. I was at a funeral in my constituency. Afterwards, we went around looking.
Okay.
The municipal chief executive of my constituency, Maxwell Lugudo, we had a conversation about this, and he told me what they were doing,
Mr. Nyagba,
mobilizing to support the people.
Mr. Nyagba,
So it is not entirely true that the president didn't go there and therefore nothing was being done. The people were being taken care of.
Thank you.
The president going is not what determines whether government is caring or not for the people.
Mr. Nyagba, I asked a question. You never responded to the question about the evidence that you picked up. And then I also wanted to ask you what you make of the president's posture. If you, Mr. Richard Ahiagba, a deputy communications director of the ruling party. Okay.
The director of communication,
a director of communications. Sorry for reducing your position. Director. So you're the boss, communication of the ruling party, and a regional minister. No, sir, please listen to me. While we have a vice president, in the absence of the president traveling, why not the vice president and you and the regional minister going? Don't you think that the optics are important? Just in one word.
Yes, but Roland. Now, if you are focused on optics, that's what you will do. But if you are focused on solution, you deploy the essential staff that solve the problem.
All right. And that's what you did. Mr. Richard Ahiagba, thank you very much. Thank you very much for indulging me. Thank you very much. So conclude for me and then.
First and foremost,
I give you one minute, sir.
I think that it is the highest insult. It's the highest insult to have the Honorable Fuseni Issa in the studio.
Bernard.
And then Richard Ahiagba will call into the show.
Bernard, no.
Invariably, can I make?
Please, he's concluding. I don't like what you're doing, Mr. Fuseni.
Can I make? When I finish, you can make. I think it's the highest insult to a dignified man to be a former member of parliament, to be in the studio defending something. Can I make the point?
You have your 10.
Then Richard Ahiagba will call into the show to say that the man sitting here is of no consequence.
Oh, he didn't say that.
By what he has done, that is the inference. If I were with Ahiagba, I will walk out. Because your director of communication is saying that your presence here is nothing.
Yes.
That is the implication.
See, guys.
The second point that I want to establish is that where is Ahiagba coming from? What is his locus going to the Volta region? In what capacity? Every one of us can go. The significance of the president going to the Volta region is not the same thing as you, Richard Ahiagba, or any one of us. Look, John Mahama went there. Yeah. Alan Chirimanten went there. Many people have gone there. But I'm saying that when you are the president, the URA, the import, that you go there and you speak to the issues afflicting the people is different from telling me that you went there. Finally, on this subject matter, assuming that the president did not even lie, that he was only in the U.S. when he was informed. When the president was in the U.S. and he was informed, was there not a vice president? Could the president not have just taken a phone call and say, Mr. Vice President, if the vice president was not acting on his own intuition, that go to this place and see the level of devastation? Why are you toying with people's lives?
You mentioned my
no, please. Mr. Fuseni, how do we put the icing on the cake on this? How do we make sure cool heads prevail? Are we taking the president's comment out of context?
I still stand by the fact that if you look at and if you take your time to listen to the president, I mean, the entire speech that he gave.
You should be
the expert, the prof from UCC,
Dr.
Santioche, was making the fact the point that sometimes former presidents, he did mention President Rawlings, have tried to bring some humor to some of those very unfortunate. I'm not saying it's a very serious situation. I'm sitting and thinking that, look, VRA is one of our top institutions in this country. And it is not the case that they have never foreseen such a thing happening, especially when we have had a forecast of heavy rains within the year. So they should have done this. And there have been stimulation exercises, from what I gather, over time. And so the people should actually, unfortunately, maybe the level of spillage. And you see,
do you think that what you see, the level of disaster, we were disaster prepared?
Roland, can I just... This what is happening today, what we are looking at today, we had never discussed it until now. Meanwhile, this whole thing started on the 15th of September because the level probably was something that could be contained within their preparedness or level of preparedness. Okay. We could have contained it. It started on over a month ago, but we are now discussing it because it's got into proportions that cannot be contained at the level of preparedness. That's how come this whole thing has become. So I don't think that the whole issue of politicization of this thing is kind of relevant. No, let's move on. Okay. Let's actually spend our efforts into safeguarding lives, like the president said. Let's push our efforts and resources into protecting lives and businesses around the area, rather than us trying to put a spin on this whole thing. That's how you were talking.
So Richard had to come in to reinforce the message.
It is not. I don't think Richard said anything different from what I'm saying.
So why did he come?
Richard did not say anything different from what I'm saying.
Why did he come?
But just sometimes we work as a team.
Okay.
And from where I'm seated, this is
Mr. Richard Anyagba Fuseni, thank you for the teamwork this morning. I give you only 3 minutes. I don't have time.
That is Murtala here. You know where I am sandwiched between. So if I have any support, I mean, it's good for the show.
Not because
you have only 3 minutes.
He's a very intelligent young person. To tell you the truth, this is profoundly...
You, so you cannot refer to me as a young person.
Oh, okay. This old man, Nyonkurugu, Dokurugu, it is very disrespectful to him.
Please, let's hear what...
It is very disrespectful what he did. Look at how he concluded. That he said virtually what he said. So why did he come in? You see, when Jifa Gomashi, my colleague, there was a similar incident. And Honorable Jifa Gomashi was raising the alarm and making statement. They never gave a jot. They never responded to her. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Government didn't respond. And she herself said, look, several attempts, they never responded. 2, you had a paramount chief from Volta region. When the president visited, and the paramount chief said, look, President Mahama started this school block. We would urge that if you could complete that, you know what the president said? If you have money, go and complete it. You have won to me. Their MPP, Ashanti Regional Chairman, who said you cannot blame the president, you didn't vote for him. So you see, a class case. What did he say? Okay,
I haven't confirmed that.
What did he say?
I haven't confirmed that.
What did he say?
What
did he say?
Please, go on.
He should comment. They make these allegations against you.
Please, I haven't confirmed that. Because I've tried to confirm.
Look,
I haven't seen
it's a clear case of Tangnache Baba on Urum Nachimba. A chief comes home with weird haircut. What does he expect his subjects to do? And you see, they're quick to mention by Richard that my people. But you see, I am tempted to believe and agree with Cicero. When Cicero famously stated that politics was a country idiot. And one thing I have observed from some of our colleagues in the Volta region and in the northern part of the country, if they need recognition within the MPP, they must do something extra. Your people are dying. And it took this government almost a week to even issue a statement on that matter. President Mahama had to go there. Honorable Alan Chirmanten had to go there. The president didn't go because, first and foremost, Honorable Bernard Moma had established that the president lied. How about the vice president? He was going around campaigning. The campaigning of the vice president for him and the MPP is more important than the lives of the people of that region. Let's call a spade a spade. The president would not have done same if it had happened to his constituents. He is doing so because he feels that the people. I'm saying that, but he's not. He just told the people of Volta region. He just told them. He just told them.
Mr. Fuseni, this is what you were doing. So Richard had to come in to reinforce. He just told them.
He just told them.
This is what you were doing. Then Richard had to come in to reinforce.
Roland, he just told them.
I beg you, without due respect.
Roland, he just told them they didn't vote for him, and that if it was about voting, he wouldn't be there. As if it was some favor. He is doing the people of Volta region. That was reckless. That was irresponsible. And such statement ought not be coming from the #1 citizen of the Republic of Ghana.
La ilaha illallah.
Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Dr. Santiotre, your conclusion by way of the comments. From your observations so far, you look at the arguments that are coming from one side, the concerns from regional groupings, concerns from the political side of the divide, and then also what the media has now taken on to be a gaffe by the president or not. How do we make sure that the right things are done going forward?
I would say it is a gaffe. No two ways about that. In terms of political communication, the president did not get it right. And that's the more reason why we now have, quite a number of people coming to testify that and contextualizing it. My final take on this is that, and you rightly asked the question, everything points to the fact that we're not prepared for this disaster. The enormity of the disaster shows that we're not prepared, and that adequate information did not go down well to the people for them to be able to prepare. So I will say, and you can even see that from NADMO perspective, they have nothing. From NADMO perspective, they have nothing to offer because the devastating effect of the spillage is beyond measure.
Okay.
So I will say that the damage, they have to cost the damage that the spillage has done and adequate compensation, not stipends, not a dole out. Adequate compensation should duly be paid.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. Let me have this from Nana Ayimedu. He is with Jubilee House Communication. He says, "Good morning, Roland. I like how you allow your guests opposing the government to import topics and subjects at will into the conversation. I only wish that you will allow pro-government guests that's just an inch to do same. We are supposed to be observing a discussion of the Akosombo Dam spillage, yet your NDC guests are talking, I only have one NDC guest here though, are talking Israel-Palestine war.
Because
you wouldn't have countenanced that from an MPP
because the president
and
left
guest.
the suffering of people and was talking about that. That
All
is
right,
how he talked about it. He lied about it.
Please. Now, I have this from Prince Henry. He says, so who voted for Mr. Peter Mawu to help the MPP have the majority group in Parliament? The sad aspect is that Dr. Lechar happily translates the insults from the president to his own people.
I agree.
Okay. Now, let me just read this. Media General, and this is a big announcement. So, we officially want to announce that Media General and 3 Foundation are officially mobilizing supplies, food items, clothing, and other essentials to support our brothers and sisters in the Volta region who have been affected by the spillage. Now, by this announcement, it also means that we need items such as food, clothing, school books, medicines, building materials, and other essentials to ease the situation that the victims of this big disaster find themselves at this moment. Media General and 3 Foundation are welcoming all donations from the public, and this can be sent through the 3 Foundation number, and we'll put the number on the screens for you, 059 74 33 110. I'm reading it slowly so that we get it again. The numbers will be on the screens for you. 059 74 33 110 or merchant number 120494. Merchant number 120494 with the merchant name 3 Foundation. All donations should be referenced Akosombo. So the normal 3 Foundation number for mobile money is 059. It will be on your screens very soon. 059 74 33 110. And then we have a merchant number, and it goes 120494. 120494. 120494. All right, we'll put all these subsequently on the screens for you. Our time is up, I'm told, but my director has allowed me to read a couple of more messages, 5 more before I go. This one is coming from Triddles. Triddle says, the president telling victims he wouldn't have visited if not for the public visuals because they don't vote for him is a very sad. Dr. Asante Ocho, thank you very much for joining us. We're grateful. Now, Kalio Man says, do you remember his fellow Ghanaian days? Anytime he makes statement that is so clear, yet his people will have it to come and explain. It's the same thing that is happening. He said no haircuts, and there were haircuts. They came explaining. And then also, let me have this one from Chris Ashalibuche. He says, at least the president has spoken better than Chairman Woon to me. I only pray that the president's speech is not another Gangantuan rhetoric. And Chris from Ashalibuche, again, that Chairman Woon to me comment, I haven't verified. More, Joshua Apambela, Roland Walker, I think you have not been fair with Husseini. That it is because of his interjection that caused the MPP communication director to call him. Please apologize to him for that comment. My take. Please, I apologize to you. Thank you very much, Bernard Mona. Nana Imedu from Jubilee House Communication says you imported, but I think it was in relation to his president's diplomatic comments.
The import of it was
and then also,
at the time when lives were
and then also, to you as well. We're grateful, Murtala Mohammed, and then Husseini. We have cash out. We encourage you to cash out. It goes with a short code. Star 439 hash. Star 439 hash. Star 439 hash. Star 439 hash. We encourage you, please. Thank you very much, Bernard. And then thank you all who have joined our streams. Imelda, Nasara, Amma Gold, Jefferson, all of you, Bisnap, we're grateful. Ali, Alfred Dodu, and all of you. We're taking a break. When we come back, we have a big conversation. And it's about remembering Atta Mills and what the foundation is doing in his memorial and all the efforts that are being made to make sure that we keep his name alive. But let's cash out. Do we have the draw ready now? Let's look at what the dashboard is giving us. Can we do it? 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. Well, we don't have it. Okay, we're taking a break. We'll be right back.
In the first 2 years, your baby will experience amazing growth in so many ways. To fuel it, they need the right